You know, there are a lot of free assets available for game dev, whether that's audio, graphical, or, you know, even just design-wise, or definitely engine-wise. But as we get into Herald Medical History, let me remember that before we move on. If you haven't already noticed, yes, I do talk a lot about writing, art, and game dev, and that's because they all contribute to at least game dev. So, I hope these topics aren't somehow boring you. Definitely when I'm stuttering all over the place and going crazy, but as we actually get into Herald Medical History, Random Item Stats, Custom Character, and then we're gonna move the batch over to other custom characters. But yeah, there are a lot of free assets available for game development, whether you're making a project that's non-commercial or commercial. Dexterity, Light, Strength, Charisma, Second Encounter, maybe Takshi-san. But definitely Second Encounter, and maybe Takshi-san, so I have to think about it. We're gonna run Ally Attack here. And by non-commercial or commercial, I basically mean, is your game for basic... Are you getting money in exchange for something you create? If so, the likely answer, and definitely if you live in the United States of America, yeah, you likely have to pay taxes, so it is therefore a commercial project. But in the closer term, legally, and this is not legal advice, but I mean, with some self-research, you know, if something states itself as for non-commercial use, you can use it personally, especially as long as you're not getting money. That's the very simple part. Please get legal advice on, like, professional legal advice if you're really worried. As we get Household Hell, Festival, Ramen, Goal, and Cult. Wow. I guess we will do Household Hell now. But, yeah, and if it's commercial, then usually you're, if not almost always, getting money in return for something you're making. In this case, game development. So when you use assets that forbid the use in commercial projects, then you cannot even take donations. I would not at least take donations. But again, just a really, 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 really simple version of the terms. It depends on what you see. And that's why when you hear me talk about terms and rules and whatnot, I'm usually talking about things that normally come. If someone's offering assets graphically or otherwise, usually there is a terms of use specifically, or guidelines that exist somewhere, whether it's an artist making art, whether it's a musician making music, so on and so forth. We're gonna put the police patrols in the school, by the way. And I think we're just gonna bravely move forward. So just really quickly, if you want to hear about World of War gameplay, we're gonna run, well, for a character with 6 charisma, I'm gonna try running Scary Story Recruitment and see if we don't just get absolutely shafted. So yeah, take stamina. Nope, that's funds. I'm going crazy. We can sell the bandage if I so choose. We'll do so. But before we enter this mansion, we definitely need to recruit our allies. So yeah. Alternatively, an army knife would go great, but if I roll a 10 on dexterity, what are the odds that I get lucky? And that being lucky kind of helps. Just a little bit lucky. So as I move back into, you know, basically game dev talk, oh my goodness, I keep rolling 10s and 11s. I just need to visit any other location, because if we visit the thingamajiggy, I mean, we could try the schoolyard with 10 experience. We'll do a little in-between here, but I'm probably not going to get anyone. So 2 bows, and we're going to try. If we can get 1, then I can just scary recruit the other. And the reason why I'm scared of this is because if I run into an encounter, you basically go negative in terms of good and bad. The bad being you run away for 5 doom, if you can even do that. Oh, I forgot to grab allies and there we go then. It's fine. Is it fine? It might not be fine. We'll find out. We can get 6-ish, 4 to 6-ish damage, but I don't want to rely. So I guess we are running. If I'm now forced to do the very thing I didn't want to do, but let's find out. Let's find out if it's bad. And I'll let you know when RNG is really, really good. Oh, but even if I had ally attack, we're running from this anyway. So in that case, it didn't really matter. But I promise you, if I keep running away, it's not going to end well. We're on encounter lockout. Thankfully, that's a thing in this game. I do wonder how that's programmed. But anywho, for those who don't know, or for those who do know, basically, I'm wondering how, I mean, there is, basically you set up a variable. If I were to think of it with myself, I'm just more interested in how it works exactly as we get severed kick. This actually is, funny enough, better. We're not even going to go for the ghost ritual. In fact, I can throw this empty bottle and be perfectly fine. But, The way I would do it is, yeah, every time you run into a battle, set a variable saying battle lockout equals a plus equals 1. So basically it starts at 0 at the beginning of the run. You add 1 every time you run into an encounter in a location. Actually, these variables would have to be specific to the location. So mansion lockout would equal 0 when you visit the mansion and run into an encounter. Set it to 1 or set it to true. And then as long as it's true for the next 2 investigations, so mansion investigations after battle equals 0, add 1 to that every time you do an investigation. Once it equals 2 or more, then you, after running into an event, you set mansion encounter to false or 0. That's my kind of band-aid. I'm pretty sure it may, you know, there's more sophistication than that, but as we take probably Colt next, all things, yeah, Colt. We'll move on. I think goal is relatively easier. I have to, maybe I should just take it there just to be sure. But let's illegal then, so we can grab allies here. Would like 7, but I don't know if I'll get that. So, yeah, now we have 48% doom, but that's the price we pay for having allies. And then we get Ritual. Where did that even come from? Whoa. Where did that come from? Okay, anywho, oh well, now we have a dead item in our inventory, but that's interesting to see. I mean, future Jordan can check, but anyway, moving onward. No, it would be nice to grab something better than nothing. As long as it's not an STE counter, not that I've run into STE lately. Yeah, so, anywho. Basically, I'm talking about graphical assets. Graphical assets in which, usually, like I said, there are terms or guidelines. Terms of use specifically is usually the phrase you see, but they can be called guidelines. You're looking for some phrase on either a site or the same web page, and you are hoping, or you are looking for the use, like how you are allowed to use said assets. In my case, maybe it's character sprites, maybe it's backgrounds for specifically RPG Maker, maybe it is tile sets. You get the point at this point. I think I've made my point clear. Also, 6 charisma means we can't do much here, but we can do this still. With lower power value enemies. But the same can be said for music and whatnot, so... And for more generalized assets, as we get badly bleeding here, which is not great. Was that from medical history? Of all the things... I mean, it could be worse, so... I'm not going to be too mad, but... Hey... let's take this really quickly. Yep, double charisma, and off we go. But yeah, on general pages, like things that can be used for, say, YouTube videos, things that can be used for, you know, art projects, maybe some other kind of medium, or just, you know, a guide, a tutorial, a video. If you use, I didn't mean to actually fight this, but it's fine, I guess. We'll just gamble the whole way through. These assets will have some use case. Now, obviously, for a lot of people, they usually end up commissioning art, music, so on and so forth. But if you need, as I said at the beginning of the video, there are a lot of assets just sitting out there wanting to be used because people put them out there wanting to be used. So that's all I can really say. Much else. I mean, if you want to know what specifically I use, usually it's graphics, character sprites, and then music, because music is by far the weakest of my abilities, I guess we'll say, for lack of a better word. Also, we're no, we're not badly bleeding. We have coughing blood, but we don't really care as much about our dexterity, even if we have the lighthouse check. Although we can use the medical kit for, yeah, you know what? I should actually use the medical kit for this question mark. Am I going crazy? Use. No, we shouldn't have used it. I'm going crazy. Well, we can visit the hospital again, but our doom is a little high, so... I mean, coughing blood is a minor injury. I just spent doom for no reason. I'm going absolutely insane. Anywho. But yeah, more specifically, I've been going over characters and music to use. Now, that's not the end-all be-all. Since I use RPG Maker, there is a high chance, unless someone specifically makes assets for RPG Maker, that I have to fill in the rest myself. So what I mean by this is that if I use character art, for example, I still have to make the sprites for RPG Maker, because I can't, like, it's great that I have a character's face or sprite that I can show on screen, but if they don't have a sprite in-game, then yeah, and it's very likely that someone who makes character art has not made, specifically, RPG Sprite Maker assets, especially those that can be immediately implanted into RPG Maker, because there's a very specific way you have to make a file for making sprites in RPG Maker. Otherwise, yeah, as you can imagine, it doesn't work. This gold, by the way, so yeah, we actually do have an important fight to fight, but, and yeah, we don't want to gamble on that. So, 2-shot, 2 stamina. This is goal, right? Am I going correct? Yeah, this is goal. So, goal has a boss fight. It's not the most harmful boss fight, as I roll badly on both of those checks, I believe, but meh. Also, Torn Muscle does not affect our ally attack, so that I can be thankful for. Unfortunately, it does affect my kicks, so pain. And then alternatively for music, if you use battle music and whatnot, you want to make sure it loops correctly. That's a very baseline thing. But otherwise, if you have more fluid music, I don't know what the exact phrase is. Basically, if you want your music to change in the middle of battle in some way, shape, or form, you have to make edits. You have to modify the music yourself, whether it's cutting, whether that's making it loopable in the case of battle music, or having it enter having music enter the way you want it to enter during a scene. There are a lot of things that you would probably want to do. In my case, it's not so bad, but sometimes it is. So, and I'm not saying the music's bad. I mean the work that you have to do. There's some work you have to do. So it's not just, hey, I picked up some music, or hey, I picked up some art, let's put it in. And no. More sophisticated, not sophisticated, that's not the word I want to use, but more complex examples include making, say, text boxes, for example. Not a lot of people make text boxes that specifically immediately fit, as we roll badly on 80% there. But that's not so bad. Once you learn how to do it, it's not so bad. Again, there's a very specific skill set that I've hammered into my brain, if nothing else, as we fail a luck check and nearly die. But yeah, it's not the hardest thing to do, that I'll admit. Yeah, I guess it's more to say it would be more redundant, question mark? Redundant work? It's not the most exciting work, but it is work. It's you gotta start brick by brick if you're making a wall. 3 all damage, by the way. We can throw this empty bottle, and I guess, you know what, if we're gonna take a risk here, let's just do the big one. So pretty much 50-50 I get out. And we don't, so I guess I'll see you in the next video.